Hello. Welcome everybody to the show. Today we have Mark with Real TV Talk. Oh, excuse me, Real Talk TV. Excuse me, I said it backwards.
Yes,
Let me
sir.
wake up.
Yes,
Let me
sir.
wake up real quick. And then we have the famous Brad Woods, Mr. Man, the troublemaker. No,
Hey, dog.
with another B Woods production. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the videographer and the breakdown. Now, last time I've had a show with both of our individuals today, and they kind of gave a good rundown of what videography is and how they operate. Today, we're going to break it down so people that are looking in or watching us as we work, and I say us because I'm getting a taste of it just a little bit, how everything comes together and how we work the equipment. And I need for people to understand that there's different methods, there's different ways, there's different parts of the operation that we can do that might not make sense to what you're looking onto. And we're going to kind of explain that in detail. So, gentlemen, what's going on? What's up?
Hey, man. Hey, life is good. He looking good. I know that's right.
Life is good, man. No complaints over here, man. Good to be on your call tonight, man. Good to be on here.
So, what pretty much my first question is that when y'all sit down with your client, your customer for the event, how much detail do y'all give them up front so they feel comfortable with what you're going to do or what you're about to do? Do y'all go into a lot of? I know me. I give a full video, a full presentation, because I want my clients to understand crystal clear what I'm going to do. How far do y'all have to go to get customers to understand exactly what you're going to do?
Well, for me, I go to the client and I have to know exactly what they're doing first to be able to deliver on my end. So understanding what they need first is like my direct and first thing I do. I need to know exactly what you're doing. So now once I know that what you're doing, now I can compensate that with this. I can compensate that with that. I can do this. I can make this happen at this certain time. And the time frame that you hire me in, this is what you will get.
So you kind of like break down in other words, you're kind of like breaking down their vision of what they want to happen during their. Let's say we'll use wedding. We'll use wedding as an example.
Absolutely.
And so like one of the things that they don't understand is the best scenario for you to have a high degree of success is time. And that time from the time that you execute during the wedding and the time after the wedding is done. So that time is a critical method or a portion of what y'all do as videographers. So what exactly that vision, once that person breaks down their vision of what they're looking for, how do you explain to them how you're going to do their event? Like if I come up, let's say, all right, I'm the groom. I want y'all to cover everything from the time I'm getting dressed to the time we jump out at the exit at the end. What would be your recommendation to them?
I know what I do, and I think I learned this from you. I actually sit down and do like a Zoom call with the clients.
Yeah.
Most of the time too. So on Zoom, of course, you can share your screen. But before we sit down and have our Zoom, before that, most of the time they've already seen like samples. They've already seen previous work that I've already done. And most of the time they'll be like, "Hey man, I remember you did this part like this in this video. Can you do that for us?" So like Mark was saying, you definitely have to get their vision first.
Right.
When it comes to weddings, for the most part, it's kind of repetitive. When I say repetitive, bride getting ready, groom getting ready, ceremony, but all that stuff can change the day of. But for the most part, like Mark was saying, you get their vision. Definitely have to be very detailed. That's one thing that I ask is for a very detailed schedule. If we're not doing the photography aspect, then most of the time I try to follow the photographer's detailed timeline. So if they don't have a detailed timeline, then most of the time I try to implement my own detailed timeline. Man, that time is very valuable, especially if it's just a one person run and gun. You know, the bride will be getting ready in the bridal suite.
Mm-hmm.
The groom might be getting ready in the hotel down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we can't accommodate that, you know.
Right.
But as long as we can communicate that, and like I said, time is it needs to be very detailed. From most of the time we doing it like either 30-minute spans or hour span. Again, just depending on how long they have us for that day.
Absolutely.
So what do y'all recommend? What do y'all actually recommend? Like when you sit down with a client, and this is like I say, I'm that crazy. I'm gonna say crazy client. Let me back up. I'm sorry. Didn't really say crazy, but I'm that client that's coming in. I'm the groom, and I'm like, bam, okay, this is what I want. I want to do this, and this. And most of the time, they don't know that a wedding day process is a 10-hour day. So when they come and they say they want the full caboodle, like I want the whole Happy Meal. Give me everything in that Happy Meal. What is it that y'all recommend to them?
Like Brad said, if they have a detailed schedule, it makes it a lot better for us because we know exactly where they'll be, when they'll be, how they'll be, and we can operate how we do as videographers and photographers because we all have different eyes and aspects when we're producing that wedding. So I won't produce the same. Me and Brad could probably go to the same wedding and probably produce two different type of things. So it's important for that client schedule to be good. So then we can further be like, okay, well, we're going to follow this schedule. Now, what we need from them is total cooperation as well, because when we have to go to the grooms to go film them getting dressed and things of that nature, it's a great day. They're having fun. They're letting loose. But we still have to control the situation. Like, okay, but we got to get these shots of the groom before we lose time. We know y'all happy and everything, but let's try to get this in and, make sure this happens. And I feel like if they know that's going to happen, like for me, if Brad was filming my wedding and I know he coming to the groom suite, I'm telling all my groomsmen, the camera is coming. Be ready. The camera coming. Be ready. We about to film a movie today. Be ready. Right. This is the day. So, and if you know that the camera's going to be there, be ready. So, and sometimes I run into that a lot of times where you got to kind of pepper more, like, yo, come on, let's get this shot done. Let's get this back here. But yeah, absolutely, total cooperation.
So, worst case scenario, here it is again. I'm that groom, and we don't have a planner. We don't have a coordinator, and I'm looking like a deer in the headlights when you say you gotta have a detailed timeline. So then I'm like, a detailed timeline? What's that?
That part.
What do you mean a detailed timeline? We're going to get married. You should you already know what we're going to do, right? So the thing is, they're making assumptions.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that information, that feedback is critical. It's important. So when they come at y'all that sideways like that, what would be your recommendation? Like I said, let's say if they're clueless about a timeline, then you would say, okay, then you need to hire me for 8 hours worth of coverage or 10 hours. What would be what's your most recommended thing to tell them when it comes to time for coverage?
This is me personally, because, and I can be honest. I don't want to, I can be honest. We can be honest. I don't want to waste the day. So I've done weddings where they've only hired us for 4 hours, which is the most stressful 4 hours. That is a very stressful 4 hours because everything is so bam, 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 bam.
Boom, 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 boom. Yep.
I've been to weddings. The longest wedding that I've been to was 13 hours. It was a long day.
13 hours.
The majority of
Wow.
our weddings are either 8 or 10. Yeah, it was a 13-hour wedding, and that was from I'm talking about like from the beginning of her getting dressed. You know, they did like breakfast, all that good stuff, man. Breakfast and
Oh wow.
makeup, and you know, then I went and did the guys, and then you know what the thing was, they waited because they wanted to do a grand exit. They had sparkles, and they had a nice
Right.
old time fancy car, so all that was at the end of the night. You know, that was a long day. Oh yeah, that was a long day.
So
But
then based off of that, then do y'all have like an all day package?
this is what I'm gonna tell you. Me personally, we give them like I do give them like a 8 or 10 hour package, and then after that it's additional hours.
Yeah.
Then that's when you get into people. Well, I only want 4 hours. Well, I'm gonna tell you this. You know, then that's where some modifications have to become to the
Exactly. And that's what I was getting ready to say. Is that's how I kind of tailor the package according to their event, as far as what's going on, and then I'll tailor the package. I never have one package that suits the same client. And that's why I never do it until I meet with them and see exactly what they want, and then the package that comes with that, because you have editing time, editing hours that you have to sit and edit the film as well. So you have to calculate your time working with editing the film, and not only that, the initial hire time of the film. You know, how many hours is your event? 4, 5 hours? How many hours do you need taping? You know, and one thing that you have to make clear with a lot of clients is that it's not continuous filming. We're not continuously rolling and continuously on record. I had did a film with a client not too long ago, and a lot of people, when they see the camera and they have a thing that they want to do, a lot of times we have to say, ready, set, action. As soon as we get there, we just don't jump into it like, hey, you know, what's going on? Like, hold on, I'm not even set up yet. let me get ready to push record. And these are things that you have to talk with the client as well. Like, look, we have to structure this thing right. This is how it's going to operate. This is how I charge to operate this, and go from there. So my packages are never catered the same to each client.
And that makes perfect sense because everybody's vision is going to be different.
Yes, sir.
So like, okay, so then here it is, and I'm like groom again. I'm all right. So so now you gave me my time frame. We kind of worked that piece out. But I want special effects. I want y'all to be able to, like, all that stuff on TikTok. I want y'all to do that type of stuff. I want y'all to kind of do a couple of things with TikTok like type scenario. When someone comes at you sideways with the TikTok scenario, how do y'all respond to that?
Now, when you say TikTok, you mean like pyro and all that kind of stuff like that? That's what you mean?
No, not really pyro. It's like like I know I saw this one scenario. Videographer was covering this wedding, and in the process of them getting ready, they wanted to do a TikTok video, and they wanted the videographer to capture the footage for this TikTok video. Is this something that they have to tell you up front, or is this something that y'all are prepared to be able to capture? Because it was weird because it wasn't the bride and groom that was asking for it. It was the bridesmaids and the groomsmen that was trying to put together this TikTok to surprise the bride and groom.
So I do have a Reels package that I have as well. So if you want to reel create it, I can film your reel with a professional camera, or not the camera phone, and you know, I could go ahead and get you that video, edit it up for your reel. I have reel packages. Yeah, I shoot for your reels too. Mm-hmm.
But see, keep in mind though, this ain't the bride and groom that's asking for it. It's the bridesmaids and the groomsmen.
Absolutely.
So that's a whole separate. Is that
Absolutely.
considered a separate
Yeah,
contract?
they get charged too.
Okay, so that would be something that you tell them up front that you're going to charge them separate than what the bride and groom are already paid for.
Yeah, because it wasn't a request from the bride or groom in the initial contract of the work that we were doing.
Okay. So that's something that, I mean, I just sat back and kind of watched it. I mean, the videographer at that time decided to go ahead and do it. But I was just curious on how does that work? Because now everybody wants to do that special little extra thing. But like I said, grandma come up to you and she wants to do her TikTok. You know, I mean, those are, I mean,
exactly. Then that's what happens.
And so
that's what happens.
That's what I'm saying, because like y'all know how it is. Y'all get
it happened to me. It happened to me. I was at an event and I did one person with my camera, and I did some type of trick with the camera. And I told him, I said, yo, I'm gonna send you this for your reel. Somebody else heard me, and they said, yo, I want one for my reel too. So I was just like, well, if that's the case, I might as well just start charging for the reels. Now I know it was 4 people in that room that wanted a reel and paid me for it.
So does that violate the contract that you have with the original event, or how does that work?
See, that's the thing about it. If it's not in that contract, then you could do what you want. You know, like if somebody comes to you during the party and say, hey, you know, that little clip that you took of me, that I was in there. Now, I'm not physically taken away from the party. That person just happened to be in the clip. Right. That clip, or can I get that clip for myself, for my joint, for my reel or something like that? It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And so the nice person in me will say, oh, yeah, I'll get you that. But when you do that, my client come first. I don't care who you are. After my client get their project, then I'll go ahead and I'll handle that side business because they didn't pay me to do a job. The client did. So I still don't mind doing it. And a lot of people, you know, I respect the people that say, you know what, here, I'm gonna just throw you this. If I throw you this or a couple dollars here and there, you know, for my clip, that's cool. I mean, it's respectable because it still work.
Right. Yeah. Right.
You know, it still work. So, but yeah, absolutely. I even if they was at the wedding, man, you know, you just, hey, you know, I would give them my card and say, hey, give them me, you know, after the wedding or something like that.
And so okay, so we got the real piece out the way. So then the next thing is, and then also let me back up for a second, because we all understand what real means, but when you say real, please explain that for those that are watching that might not understand what a reel is. What does a reel mean? What does that mean?
Well, Brad good at them things, man. He been making them things really good. I'll be seeing his reels, bro.
So when you say real, what does that mean?
You know, and that's crazy because when they came out with the reels, you know, it's like a movie. It's like a little reel clip, you know, little short clips that they put out on their Instagrams and Facebooks, you know, to get a lot of people use it for advertisement. A lot of people use it for entertainment. I'm still trying to catch on to the reels. I'm creating them, but I'm not good at it. Now I could film it really good, you know, but for me personally, like my things, I'm like, man, I guess mine's are boring. I don't know, you know, but I'll give somebody else a clip. Like I literally gave the young lady, I did her birthday. I gave her a clip. I said, here, I thought you would like this clip. Next thing I know, that clip is in her reel, man. She got hundreds of views. I filmed it, but I don't know, you know. So like I said, I'll film your reel, and then you do what you want to do with it.
I think with the reels get more plays. You know, a lot of people, instead of actually going to your page, you know, it's just like a little swipe up, and you know, most of the and I would say with like most of the content that I get, a lot of my leads have came from the reels, you know, especially for like a photographer and videographer. That is a very creative way to showcase your work. I got a podcast. Sometimes I do like a 30-second. I just started that, doing like my podcast in 60 seconds or 30 seconds. And I've got a lot of people that's come through in my message saying, "Hey, I seen you on your reels. That's why I came to your page." So that's a little nugget for, again, I don't know everything. I'm still learning it.
I'm still learning it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm still learning the reels, though.
So that's one of those things that's like, I would say it's kind of like in the gray area of what's black and white in the contract, is when you come across a situation, and that's what happens a lot now, because doing reels, doing snippets, doing those type of videos have become extremely popular. And just like that one video, for example, that one video that they did do, it was a big hit on social media, and it blew up. So like in a situation like that, how does that work when it comes down to your contract? And this is the part that's tricky, because when social events is one thing, but on corporate's a different side. So in a social event, how does that work as far as the copyright? Because let's say they put a reel out and they get paid for that reel. Like, you know how it works is they got a YouTube channel and they put on their YouTube channel something like that, and they're getting paid for your work. How does that work? Do you just don't worry about it, or how? I mean,
without that contract, without like them licensing agreements in place, as videographers, we own the raw footage. We could always prove that it's ours, but without them agreements and contracts in place, when you're giving that film away, I think you chuck it up. You know, unless that person that blew up off of that reel come back and be like, you know, thanks for filming that, making it happen for me. Here you go. Right. You know,
but do you cover yourself?
Once again, Mario, you done got my mind thinking.
Am I right or am I wrong, Brad? Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right. I actually was thinking on another aspect, though. I was thinking on the aspect of, like you were saying, videographers, we own it. In my contract, I do have a clause in there that says, but I do give them the option. There have been a few clients that have said they don't want their stuff on social media, but most of the clients are happy for us to upload stuff on social media. So basically, in the contract, it does say any content that is created, like we own that content, so we can use it for advertising purposes. So sometimes, you know, I'll put somebody's picture on a flyer, or I'll put, you know, somebody's on a video or something as an advertiser. So we do own that. I wasn't thinking on the aspect of me shooting a wedding and then they use some of the film and they create a highlight and then they blow up.
Yeah, absolutely, because it can happen. You know,
and it has happened. I mean, it's happened a lot now. I mean, lately, ever since TikTok, Instagram, so a lot of these small 30 second to 1 minute to 90-second videos. A lot of these, like I said, YouTubers. You have a lot of YouTubers. You have a lot of TikTok popular people where they'll take something from a wedding, and they'll they go in. Everybody can go in and do their little thing, and the footage that they use is what was captured by that videographer. So it's like, what happens when they take your footage and they use it? Because I mean, there's number one, it's hard for you to track everything that everybody does, but how do you keep your copyright intact that it belongs to you if they did not send, like, and again, if they didn't sign a lease or license agreement or copyright agreement, which is, again, with social events, most of the time they're not even thinking about that. They don't really care. They'll just take it and do whatever, and not thinking that material still belongs to you.
Yeah. without that paperwork, man, like I said, without I believe that's just what I believe. Without any agreements in place, you know, once again, I've even had a client once again talk about raw footage, you know, and just because I filmed that event, they felt as though that's their footage, and it's not, because there's no contract or agreement in place to say, hey, this is our raw footage. This was the price that the raw footage was. Am I right, Brad? So raw footage costs. And it's separate. The raw footage is separate from your hired production.
Right.
So that's a totally different price and agreement, and the contract should be in place for that. So I had to explain that to the client, that just because I filmed your event, I'm only obligated to give you, through this agreement that's in this invoice, your highlighted finished product.
Those contracts are key, man.
It's
that
very
contract
important.
is key. Again, and I tell my clients that it not only covers them,
Yeah,
but it also covers us too. It does, you know, in a contract too. We have the delivery date, so we have to honor that. Again, stuff happens sometimes, and I am so thankful for the clients that I've had, because like I've had it, like prime examples, I've had these computers back here crash.
Right.
And that definitely threw back the delivery time.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've had some great clients, and they were definitely understanding.
Understanding.
To me, the key thing there is that communication. We've established that communication from day one, and that's me. I always try to be open and transparent, just so that they know, you know, if stuff like this happens, I'll let them know. And you know, like I said, I've had a client too where, like I said, the computers crashed. They were understanding. So you know what, you know, they were asking for the raw. That specific client, because of what happened on my behalf, you know, I threw it in. You know, that was my gift to them as a thank you.
Yeah.
But anybody else, you gotta pay for that raw. You feel me? You gotta pay for that.
Yeah, absolutely, right, man. And I'm actually working with a client now, Brad, that like them clients that understand that our computers break down just like anything else. They're not, you know, we could wake up today and think everything's going to go great. Hey, I'm about to go edit, and bam, my computer crashed. My hard drive crashed. It stopped working. My data is still there, but it's set back on the return time on one of my clients, because I have to get my data off of that hard drive. I haven't lost it. It's just the hard drive stopped. So and things like that happen. But when you have clients that understand it, yeah, and they not nagging you and hitting you up on this and hitting you up on that and hitting you, it's like, yo, then we just talk. Like, okay. But I let you know what was going on. I was upfront. I was truthful. And I think those type of clients, you know, they respect, you know,
and I think
and honesty.
And I think that's like it's so crazy that y'all said that, because I know I was uploading 3 projects from video from my iPad up to my cloud, and normally what I do is I get it in my cloud first to make sure I don't delete it, or I have it backed up first before I do anything with it. And in that process, Spectrum decided to go offline for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that stopped me in my tracks of just trying to upload the video to my cloud. So normally I back my stuff up before I do anything with it, and that's just a safety precaution. But because of that, I stopped everything, because I've done it before where I've deleted a video by mistake and I didn't have it backed up. So that's one of those things. I definitely get that part. So that's good. That's a real good answer. So and I think
I'm sorry, Mario. Always back up the back.
Oh, no, you good.
Trust.
Yeah.
Always back up.
That's one of the things that people have to understand, that there's a process of assuring that the footage is captured, saved, and prepared for editing. And sometimes that process takes a long period of time. But like, to me, when y'all explain that process, when it comes to weddings, like the raw footage, for example, when someone gets the raw footage, do y'all ever have to worry about doing a license? Like, you know what some photographers do is they give them the rights to where they can post it on social media, blah, blah, blah. There's a special block in the contract that explains, like when you do pictures, it explains in detail what the client can do. So have y'all ever had a situation where they just want to get that and you give it to them?
Mhm.
So does that clear them to where when they do their TikTok stuff like that, then it's okay?
Yeah, it's theirs.
Okay.
But when I do it too, it's okay because it's also our belongings.
So let's say for example, a person comes back and they are upset because they saw you post part of their wedding as an advertising piece. Because
Mm-hmm.
I did that one time and I did it not thinking nothing of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it was just a setup. It was no people or anything in it, but I was just video recording a setup of a venue,
Mm-hmm.
and the customer was kind of upset because I video record there, like I was recording my setup, which is the upline and everything, and it was my video. It wasn't a professional video, it was just my video.
Yeah.
So because of that situation, I had to add in on my contract, anything that I capture, I own the rights to it.
Yes, sir.
So
I think that's a great thing to do.
yeah, that's what I had to do. Right, my new contract now, because of that one episode, is I actually had to go in and explain in detail, and I even give them the option on my new contract. I think I did. Mark, did I send it to you already?
I think you did send it to me.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll probably send it to you, Brad, so you can take a look at it too. But what I did was I gave them the option to where do they if they I'm gonna be respectful and give you the option to where if you want me to respect your privacy, let me know up front. So then I won't put your stuff out there. So in my contract, I incorporated that in there because of that one episode where, to me, doing something where there's nobody, I'm not capturing nobody's faces, nobody like that, it shouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah.
So
Well, I've had clients that, to be honest, I haven't had one client that wanted their wedding on social media. It's like they wanted to keep it, which I get it. It's their personal, day. You know what I'm saying?
right,
They're like, nah, we ain't gonna post it, but we want to share it with our family and stuff like that.
right,
They'll give their family copies and stuff, but I don't get mad if they don't want it on social media.
right. No, don't get me wrong, I don't get mad, but
Yeah.
it's just like, do they like? How do you identify that? Do y'all do in that process of doing the contract? Do you give them the option prior? How does that?
I know for me, it is in the contract that does say that, we do anything that we capture, we can use for promotional. But when I deliver everything and they look at it, I always, ask it out. That's when I give that verbal, hey, how do you feel about this? Again, I've
Yeah.
had some clients that don't want it out.
Yeah.
When it comes to weddings, most of the time I don't post it.
Yeah.
I share their post, if that makes sense.
And
So,
that,
Right.
absolutely, because
that's what
it gives them, and that's like with my clients. I'll always be like, I'll do it after when they share it. I'll do that
yeah.
Okay.
because that means they're cool with it being out and things of that nature. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that too, Brad. Yeah.
So that's something. Then, like I said, it goes back to the terminology and the definition of all those. Because I just wrapped all those up because most likely now, because we're more of a social media frenzy when it comes to video clips. Pictures are not that big of an issue as much as the video, because now everybody's going crazy with the TikTok and the Instagram and the Facebook. And I always wonder, how do y'all define that in your contract? How do you define that to the customer? How do you let the customer know is, look, these are do's and don'ts
Mm-hmm.
up front in reference to that? Because I've seen, most of the time, the main things I've seen is when a client comes back and they don't want their stuff. Like I had one situation, a wedding. The wedding lasted, I think they were only married for like 3 months, got a divorce, which I don't think you can do a divorce, but they were separated. But they were in the process of getting divorced after being married for 3 months. and they wanted everything. They want me to take everything down that had anything to do with that wedding. I of course I did it. I honored their wishes, but into a circumstance as a vendor, I didn't have to honor that. And that's the part that I'm going. That's the next question I want to ask is: have you ever had a situation where you felt as though you should not honor that, or how do you break that down and explain to them that you are the overall owner of that footage?
In the nicest way possible. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the way that you have to break it down the nicest way possible. Because and like I just came out of the situation when I had to sign over rights to a film that I just did recently for this documentary that's coming out. And it's no different than that, is that I can't share anything that I filmed on social media.
Well, that's different. That's kind of different because that's like a that falls into the corporate side of things, which
Yeah.
is a different ball game.
But I still can't share it on social
Right.
media. You know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about like in a situation where you've done all this work, you put it out there, they were okay with it, you put together a social, let's say reels, a couple of things for them, things didn't work out, they come back to you, let's say
because they I get what you're saying now. All right, so but yeah, man, I'd be like, you know, to be honest, it's like, yo, man, like it's really
it depends on how many likes and comments.
It's like, come on. I mean, the work was good. 100 people liked it, and it got 500, 600 views. I ain't taking it down.
I mean, the thing is, keep in mind that you don't got a lot of customers off that one video or that clip, and they come back and things didn't work out, and they want you to take it down. So
leave it up.
So Mario, this is another way to handle that situation: is you just leave the message on red. I mean, on unread, and just look at it. Just read it through the thread right there. Oh, you want me to take what down? Oh, I ain't gonna answer it till next month.
So that's one of those things to where that, and I think that's I mean, because like I said, with me, I know my contract, because I do capture things for events. I do capture video. I do capture pictures. I had to go back in and actually put a clause in my contract.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, I want to be respectful.
Yeah,
I want to respect the customer's wishes.
Absolutely.
But I want to let them understand at the same time I do own the rights, because like you have some people now that feel that, like, look, have y'all ever had a situation where somebody at the event doesn't want to be video?
A lot of times.
Yeah.
How do y'all deal with that?
That's where that whole communication comes in. You know, that's you definitely got to talk to your folks about that. Who doesn't want to be filmed? Who don't want to be in pictures? Who don't want to be in pictures together? Who don't want to be sitting at the same table? That got to be communicated early, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what you're saying. Go ahead.
Thing I do prefer, if people at the event don't want to be in the event, I mean in the video, and they see the camera coming, you can turn your head, maybe drop down or something. Just don't do this in the film. Don't do this. Don't see me coming and be like,
or what? I mean, have you ever had someone come up and do something like this?
No. Oh no.
Look, no, don't film me. Don't film me.
No,
I mean,
no.
Okay. I'm just look, you got this crazy stuff that you see on social media nowadays. You got people feel as though that in public or whatever, they act crazy. They go crazy when they see somebody video recording.
Yeah.
But yeah. So now, I think we beat that. I think we beat that up real good. So I'm gonna move on to the next part of it. Is equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now here it is. I'm that groom again, and I've been watching Hollywood stuff and behind the scenes, and I see these big old cameras, and I see the dude with the bodysuit on with the camera, and so my expectation is I'm expecting you to come in looking like the Terminator with these cameras all over the place, these video cameras, and you come in and you walk in and you got, where is it? I'm just gonna try to find something. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here. You walk in and your camera is like, bam, it's this small. Now, even though your camera is this small, yep, there we go. Um, they look at you and they start to have questions on how you're capturing the video. How do you kill those? And I say it all the time is that when people sit back and they see a lot of stuff, like when they see the videographer and they see, like I said, y'all know what I'm talking about, those full body suits where they got the harness and stuff on them, and you come in and you have a high-tech small camera. How do you kind of destroy those expectations of equipment? How do you get clarification?
You take this little camera, Mario, right? You see it?
I see it.
And you film the heck out of the event with it, and show them the finished product after.
But how do you? But I'm saying that expectation, they start to worry about what their product is going to look like. But how do you, like, has that ever been a situation like that where a person's questioning your abilities because of the equipment that you use?
Yep. When I first was starting out, I had a camera, and they looked at it, was like, "You want to film with that?" I was thinking he was coming, with the other stuff. I'm like, "Well, no, this is what I got." And once again, I showed them. But by the time I finished doing my stuff with this one little, not this camera in particular, this was a couple years back. But once I showed them what I produced with this little piece of equipment, and I didn't need the big old extravagant everything, that was almost just or equivalent as somebody that could have did it with all this high tech equipment and walking around with this big old thing and stuff like that, when you can produce the same thing.
Right. Because technology has changed how we can do things across the board. I mean, like back in the day, there's no way I can have video cameras incorporate into my DJ equipment, but technology makes it easy for us to do that. Yeah. So, like, for y'all, that's what I'm saying is that how do you, like, because let's say during that process when you're talking to them and they ask you about your equipment, how do you break down and explain to them the equipment piece? So then because thing is, they're not, even if you explain, they're not really going to understand it. But how do you break it down to them? I mean, seriously, because that's what happens. You can sit here and you can tell them in detail about the equipment, and they're still not going to know what you're talking about. So how do you get them to feel comfortable so you don't have to worry about them panicking when they see you show up with your equipment?
Now I know I've never had the bride and the groom ever question my equipment. But I know when I've showed up and maybe most of the time it's never the bridesmaids. Most of the time it's a groomsman. He's like, I mean, you recording with that little thing, or you record? Man, I thought you would have something. Most of the time, and again, I guess that's a little ego thing or whatever. But like I said, the only time I've ever had a client question what camera I was going to use whenever I was doing something at a movie trailer type video for a book release. That's the only time that I've ever and they just wanted to know the different specs, because that trailer was going to be put, what I'm saying, on a movie screen. So that was the main reason why they were asking what type of camera I was going to use for that project. But for the most part, that conversation is held early in the conversation whenever they see our samples. They see the samples. Most time they see the work, they just want it to look like that. They don't care what you use.
Right.
They don't care what you, And it's important to have that conversation. And I'm sorry, Mario. So I got the I call it Mini Benny. I got the Mini Benny right here, the Mini Benny. And Mini Benny works just as good as the Big Benny.
Right.
So, and then I got the Benzino. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter the equipment. It's how you operate.
Right. And
It's
that's
what
the
how
part
you
that
use it.
and that's the part that I'm trying to get across to people in general is that just because of what you see, it's really not when it comes to videography and photography, it's the final product that you have to be concerned about. If you already have showed it, like y'all show them samples of your work,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if that little bitty camera or that little bitty whatever video camera what you use get that product, then you must be doing something right. And that's where they need to have and leave it at that. They don't need to get into your operational piece. And I think that's the part that some people will see it. And I've seen it happen. I've actually seen it happen
Yeah.
where they start to question because the guy showed up and he had some high-tech equipment. And see, I knew what it was, but a lot of other people didn't, they're not familiar with it because now technology, now you can go out and get something that fit in the palm of your hand and it still come out crystal clear.
Mm-hmm.
So the equipment piece was one thing, and then the next thing is the footage itself.
Mm-hmm.
Please explain to people that, and I think this is let me make sure I say this right. The difference in the FPS,
Right.
because a lot of people misinterpret what FPS means and the different levels of FPS. When
There's
y'all shoot a social event,
mm-hmm.
what FPS are y'all shooting it at?
I normally have mine in between 24 and 30.
Now, what is the difference
And,
between a 24 and 30?
just the overall speed of the
Frames?
film of the frames.
Right.
Because when I get it into my editor, now two of my cameras, I can take them up to 60 frames.
But when you take it to 60 frames, it takes up more space.
Oh, yes, sir. Well, you said you got to have a big memory card. You got a big memory card.
So explain. Now, this is the part that's critical. I want people to understand this part of it. When you put it at FPS at 60 frames, how much longer does it take for you to edit the video? Does it have an impact on the time?
Let me give my input on the FPS. All right, so this is how I look into my shots. It does depend on what type of mood you're trying to set as well. So, prime example, I know when I first was learning videography, I went to YouTube. Everybody said shooting 60, and I was like, the difference in the 60 and the 30. Anytime that I am, this is my approach, and it might be different from everybody else. But anytime that I am, that I know that I'm going to shoot something in slow motion, I go 60 frames. So prime example, if we're doing something where the bride is, she's already dressed, and I know that I want to get a slow mo of the wedding dress. If I know I want to get a slow mo of mama helping her get dressed, I would shoot that in 60. Everything else when it comes to as far as like the reception, when it comes to toast, when it comes to the actual ceremony, for my main camera, I can drop that one down to 23.9. So that's 24 frames. Yeah. That's like your normal. That's what we seeing right now is 24 frames per second for the most part. So it just depends on your project. There have been cases where I don't know what I'm gonna shoot, so I'll go in and I'll shoot 60 frames all day. I'll shoot 60 all day just so whenever I put it in the editor, it can be in certain parts can be in slow mo. Like he was saying, it does take up a little bit more, gigs on the memory card or whatever. But as far as like edit time, it doesn't. It's the same edit time. It just allows the footage to be. It just allows the footage to be stretched. So if I'm shooting in 60 and I render it in the 24, that is how it it slows it down just a little bit. So that's my explanation on the FPS.
Yeah, I don't keep mine on 60. I normally keep mine at 24 unless it's requested to shoot
right
higher or in a specific frames for whatever project that is. And a lot of times, a lot of clients don't even ask me about that. They just
most of the time they don't know, and I think that's it's only those very few.
Yeah,
they'll go out there and see. The thing what upsets me is like, I can't go say upsets me. Back up. It doesn't upset me, but it's like when you throw something out there on Google, for example, you throw something out there that the standard film making footage is 60 FPS, 4K 60 FPS. That is not true all the time. And I think that's what kind of it sets a presence to where a lot of people don't get. Now, I get it. It's a whole different story. Social events are completely different than a corporate, because corporate, like I have me and a young lady, we wanted to go do a video. She was required. It was supposed to be 4K at 60 FPS because that's what the record company was asking for. Because her video was going to be incorporated into a bigger video.
Yeah.
So they gave us the format that was required. So we went out, we shot the video, we got it exactly how it was. We took it home. She edited, because she is a videographer. She edited, put the music piece in it, and she sent it off to California. No problems, no issues. Everything was good. But what I've heard, again, it's sad to say, but there are groomzillas out there. And a groomzilla, one time I was sat back and was questioning the videographer on if he's going to shoot his entire wedding in 60 FPS. Now, that is a conversation that should be had prior to showing up. Because if you show up, and again, now keep in mind, don't get me wrong, a seasonal videographer is going to come with enough stuff to have extra storage if necessary. We're going to come with hard drives. We're going to come with memory sticks or whatever, memory cards. We're going to come with appropriate things.
Yeah.
But one of the things that people have to understand is that let the videographers do their job.
That part.
And I think that's critical, because in some situations, how many times as videographers did y'all have to use your cell phones?
Not the film.
Y'all never had to use your cell phones?
Not the film.
No, sir.
Not the film.
Okay, so I know there's one videographer. He did a shot with his cell phone because he left his other equipment staged in the thing. So he used the, and I didn't understand it, but after I saw the end product, it was perfect. It was great.
Yeah.
But I assumed that and it was I think it was a Pro. It was an iPhone Pro, which if everyone knows, anything that's Apple Pro, it has that capability to capture good stuff.
Yeah. So Mario, man, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even have it here with me right now. Oh yeah, here, go right here.
Because even the Samsung Galaxy, I heard that they're good for capturing video as well.
So let me show you. I use my iPhone weekly for my church. I film for my church every week, and I use Brad. See me? I use this gimbal right here.
I was just about to say that.
So I use this for my church for their film for their live stream. Now, when I do their productions, I use my camera.
Right, but see, that's the difference when you're live streaming. Live streaming is a whole nother ball game because
I film promotionals on this too with my camera phone, with my iPhone.
Because live streaming, you want a cell phone, because the cellular system works better than Wi-Fi. In most cases, not all cases, but in most cases. So and that's what I'm saying is that when y'all, as far as because my thing is, y'all don't have to put on a show to pretend just to make someone feel confident in your services. Right. Y'all don't come dressed up with the body armor of the harness. I've seen it. I seen this one dude. I wanted to laugh, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Because he looked like the Terminator gone wild with.
I'm
And
telling.
when I
I mean,
say
you gotta
that,
look at it, man. To have all that, man, it'll wear you up, man. If you got a 7, 8 hour, that'll wear you down.
no, because this dude, he had the harness on.
Yeah,
He had his little battery packs on one side. He had the little thing the little harm thing that was connected to the harness. And I said, look, you're playing a video game. And I'm like, as he was walking around, I'm like, so it's like, what was the whole purpose? I mean, and again, if that's what makes it work, that's fine. But
yeah.
I just was curious on that portion of it to where
I'm not going to knock the guy, but I mean that's
No, yeah,
it,
absolutely.
it just depends. So I know for this is what I'm gonna tell you, for heavier cameras, you are gonna need,
the harness and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
you're gonna need, what I'm saying. Once
Yeah.
you start, once I start recording with my reds and everything, I'm like,
You know what I'm saying, B? Now we talking.
Right.
Now we talking. But I'm not gonna bring no red to no birthday party.
I feel
You
you
know
on
what I'm
that.
saying? Come on,
Right.
man. Why we gotta look all red and big at this birthday party, or this little a nice little camera.
Yeah,
Had a nice little camera.
to me again, that's for more of a corporate. That's
Man,
more of a
yeah,
corporate
man. When we
deal,
doing some big commercials or something,
Right. And I mean, that's what I'm saying is that's the part that I always ask is that do people have to play the part? That you have to do more than necessary to prove that you could do your work. And I think that's what it is now. Technology is making it easy for y'all to go out as videographers and capture things to where you don't have to wear a full bodysuit with a harness and a mount to where you're basically strolling back and forth. Now I get it for certain times and certain type of things, yeah, but I mean, is it really necessary? And then let's say of course now technology. When's the last time y'all had to use a tripod?
I use it every week.
Same here. I'm using one right now.
Hey, I just bought another one.
I mean, and I think that's where people have to understand that there are certain things that require a tripod, there's certain things that doesn't require a tripod.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
Because like some people, they think that they don't see a tripod, you're not doing something right. And I think that's again, there's a whole scenario to where that's where technology takes over, and that's where editing comes in.
Yeah.
So
when you a solo shooter, tripod is your best friend, man.
right, absolutely.
I'm different. I'm different, man. I use a tripod at the church, but outside of that, I really don't use it too much because I'm always in motion. And I can't.
That's because you got all that energy, Mark, man.
I know, man. I'm always moving, and I'm somewhere bending and flexing and trying to get that right shot.
Right.
And a tripod is just like a bad girlfriend, man. Get out the way. Get out the way, man. you just hindering everything for me, man. But yeah, but when it's useful when you really need it. For me, it's the situation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the part that people have to understand, that the way y'all operate, the way y'all do things, they just have to treasure it. My thing is this is when you show them the end product up front, samples of what you've done before, that's justifications of your work. How you get that end product, everybody does it differently. Everyone uses different software, everyone uses different hardware. So that's why I say it's like one of those things to where you get into a situation, and this is coming up to the summary piece of this show.
Okay.
Is you get to that situation where people feel as though they can do the same thing you do using their cell phone.
And that I laugh so much.
And I think that's the part. And because as a DJ, we get it too. Oh, I could do what you do using my iPad or my iPod. All I need is a Spotify list, and I can do the same thing you do. And I think that's where people have to understand there's a difference between what you see in technology and what actually happens and what takes place. You know how to catch those certain angles, those certain moments. cell phone, you might be holding the cell phone the wrong way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's that,
I mean,
and
I'm just using an example. There's a lot more than that, but yeah.
I'll give you a prime example, and I'm gonna put my pastor on blast, but I had to talk to them when it came to filming for them, because sometimes they'll be like, we're having something next week, so maybe you can go ahead and get on the editor and go ahead and go ahead and piece this together real quick. And I said, it doesn't happen like that.
Right.
I can't just get on here and piece this together real quick. Now, if I would have known it about 2 weeks ago, now we're prepared, and then we can go ahead and blast it on out. Secondly, when it comes to filming, it's just not get up there and press record. That's with your cell phone. You can do that. That's not filming.
Right.
This with your cell phone is not filming. It's recording. You're recording with your cell phone. You're recording.
And I'm glad you said that. That's a good way to break it down.
I'm trying to tell them that, if I sat you down in front of this editor with the same thing you just recorded on your cell phone, it would take you probably 3 months to edit this thing. Because you don't know. What I'm saying? You have no clue on what it takes to make this or put this together. And it's not like this. It doesn't happen like that.
And that's one of the things that's the next piece is that people have to understand, like, what's the normal amount of projects are y'all working on at one given time?
Man, I just got finished talking to my daughter mom about that. So sometimes it happens. You'll have 2, 3, 4 projects at one time because, everybody's filming. Everybody wants to get captured. Their birthdays, their weddings, everything. And sometimes I found myself plenty of times, not sometimes, plenty of times. And I'm thankful for it, but I'll have 2, 3, 4 projects at one time that I got to edit and go. And in between the times when editing, I don't know if Brad can relate, but when I used to rap, I would get writer's block. I get editor's block. Because sometimes I'd be like, dang. Like today, I had to take a break. Like, man, where am I going to take this thing? And so when I get to that point, I just walk away from the editor for a while. I'm never going to rush a product. If I don't have it, I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to rush it because I need it to be perfect for my client. But sometimes I get into that mode where you get editor's block. Things like that happens. So you say, hey, can you piece this together real quick? When we filmed it today, they expected maybe looking for it tomorrow or the next day, and it's not going to happen. Bro, I got a life. I got to go to sleep. I got to take a bath.
That is key.
I got a daughter that runs my life. I gotta get past her, and then I could possibly edit the film. It's not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's important in them contracts to say, hey,
it takes 3 weeks.
10 to 14 to 20 days to do this because it's our job. But just like y'all, we still have an outside life once we clock out from 9 to 5.
Right. And see, the thing is, that's what people have to understand is that for us, as me as a DJ or as a planner, it's critical. Time is critical before the event. After the event, time is more critical for y'all because it's like the time that it takes to edit. To keep in mind, you give them a 3 to 6 week window to get the product done, but during that 3 to 6 week, you're still out video recording events. You're still out doing different events. You still have to edit the event. You still got an event that you're still working on prior to that. You got 2 or 3 other events working on that. So as a DJ, and I'm telling you like now, right now, I'm preparing for 4 different weddings as we speak. And it's like I have to take a mental break away from just doing the preparation part from it.
Yeah.
So that's why I explain to people, I get it. You want to act as though you're the only customer, but you're not.
But you're not. You're
And I
not the
think that's
only
what
customer.
people have to understand is that, like, if you're asking, like, the key thing is in this business as professionals, we give you a timeline for a reason. That timeline is to like give you a snapshot of our operation to where how things are going to flow. If you provide me the stuff I need and I get the stuff I need, this is how the turnaround time is going to be. But if you don't give me what I need and I don't have the stuff that I need to complete the project, then it's going to take longer.
It takes longer when it's going to hold it back. It's going to hold it back. And once again, we spoke about it at the top of the show. Cooperation,
right,
from the client. Cooperation. You know what I'm saying? It makes
Cooperation
everything
and communication.
in communication.
yeah, because having that communication, the biggest cooperation and communication puts out fires before they begin.
Before they begin.
And as long as everyone is communicating and everybody understands and that's the biggest piece is what you understand falls into being realistic on this situation.
Yeah.
You can't have what's the word? I was gonna say something, but I'm glad I caught myself. You can't have these you can't have these expectations that are not realistic. Well, you did 4 hours, so I guess it only takes you an hour to have everything ready.
Yeah. Man.
Now, if you do 4 hours worth of video footage, times 16. And that gives you an idea of how long it's going to take to edit that. And I always tell people that sometimes you have to understand is 1 hour is equivalent to 1 day.
I'm trying to tell you.
Because that 1 hour there'll be like you get 25 phone calls in that 1 day. You have someone calling you about different things coming up. Someone trying to hire you for a coming event. You have to, like you said, you got to do your personal hygiene. You got to go eat. You got to do all these different things. So 1 hour to me is equivalent to 1 day. I'm sitting here working on 3 different video projects. The spectrum went down on me. So
yeah,
it's like
okay.
So it's like I'm getting a feel of that, and so like okay, yeah, I was supposed to have one project done today, so I communicate and say, hey, that project is not going to be ready because of this. I mean that's the reason why with me is I let people know up front I'm not going to edit your stuff.
Yeah,
I'm just going to send it to you.
And thank God that I haven't had no clients like that except for one since I've been in business. But it's the most gratefulest thing when the client understands that number one, you have a life as well, and they're not going to bug you for the stuff or their product, and that they understand that it's work. It's going to take some time.
And that's you know what? And you just said something that there's a big difference between a social event and a corporate event.
Mm-hmm.
A social event, you're it's like okay, this is what you're paying for up front. A corporate event will have a special twist on it to where they're going to pay you extra because they're going to they want their stuff in a timeline. It's just like the military.
Yeah.
The military don't believe you have a life. There's no such thing. You don't have a life.
Sure.
So we want you to get stuff done. Yeah, we're going to give you this last minute thing, even though we know it's last minute, but we still want you to have it done by tomorrow.
Yeah, but then that's called an expedited fee. So now we have to charge a production fee. We have to charge a production fee. You know what I'm saying? For the work itself.
Right.
That's normal.
And then this
now you want an expedited turnaround. That means I have to sit down extra longer
and put other projects aside.
Put other projects to the side to accommodate you. But when you don't pay for the expedited project,
you're going to get the regular process.
And you still try to get expedited work. That's a problem.
Right.
Because that shows lack of to me, that shows a lack of respect for the work of the videographer.
Okay.
Because you're not taking into consideration that this project is last minute. Not only that, it's work. because we're gonna have to film for how many ever hours. And now you have a deadline that I have to meet as well. That's extra work, man. It has to be an extra fee to have that project expedited quick. I mean, look at the postal service. Priority, 2 to 3, 4, 5 days.
That's a
Next
perfect
day,
example.
Yeah.
That's a perfect.
You gotta pay. The price goes up because you want it quick. I mean,
Right.
I'm just being real.
That's a good
Can I be
example.
real?
That is a perfect example.
It cannot be real. This is what it say,
Yeah.
real talk.
Right.
This is real talk. So when you want that expedited project, think about that as well. When you're talking to these videographers and photographers, consider that, because it's work for them to get it out faster for you to look good and for you to have.
And then this is my last question to y'all. Have y'all ever had a situation where the footage was deleted by mistake?
Or you never hit the record button.
That too. I forgot.
I had, you know what's crazy, Mario? I got a situation. I don't know if I talked to Brad about this, but I filmed an event right one time, and I pressed record for, all the clips that I wanted to take. I got home, and when I pulled the footage out, the last couple clips of the event, they're there, but they won't play. The rest of the ones up, in that file, they all play.
But they were corrupt.
And these are clips that I'm like, I need that. The rest of the files are there, but these 4 to 5, 6 clips will not play. And to this day, they still sit. They will not play. I don't know why.
So what do y'all do with a situation where footage is lost? Because I've seen it happen one time where the videographer showed up late. I will never forget this. This was a wedding back in 2017. He showed up. He was late, was rushing, set up his equipment, and thought he recorded and didn't record it.
Ooh.
So what do you do? Number one, he was late, so he didn't capture the beginning of all the stuff he was supposed to capture. And then when he thought he had recording, he didn't record anything.
Now I would say
he needs to delete his Facebook. He needs to delete his whole page.
I would say this though. There's two different aspects of that. In that situation right there, by him being late, by him rushing, he definitely needs to. I'll be honest. If it was me, I would refund the client. I would.
Right. You ain't going. Technically, you ain't got no choice. And then
he got no choice. He ain't got no choice.
But also in my contract, it does have a disclosure too, where we are limited to the refund due to certain things. So, prime example, say for instance, we had a wedding and the wedding is scheduled to be outside. I know that I will not take my camera out in the rain. I've had weddings where that has. Can you hear me now?
Say again. You was breaking up. Say that again.
Man, it was really bad that time.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, it's storming over here. That's what it is. So our internet is going out because it's storming over here. But that's what I said. With the storm, I said I've had a wedding where the wedding was scheduled for an outside wedding, and part of the ceremony was still outside. To record from a far distance because I didn't want my camera to get wet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was, but all that stuff, to me, I feel like my contract is pretty in depth, and it does go through disclaimers about in those cases situation. You know what I'm saying? Again, that's me personally. I would give them something back, but I mean, it just depends on if that situation was controllable or not.
Right.
I can say this, and it won't ever happen again. My very first wedding, I missed the first kiss. And I will never do that again because I thought I hit the record button and I didn't record it, and it wasn't recorded. I'm sitting here filming it and everything, and they kissing, and it didn't even record. So, but it'll never happen again. I learned that lesson the hard way. But
and see, I know, like for me, what I know it happened to me before too. So that's why I have one standstill camera that's recording the entire time, regardless. And then I have one that I'm actually like the actual main footage, but I always put a camera on the side that's going to record everything. So if I miss a moment, then that's my backup camera that I go back to.
Again, always back up to backup. That is exactly what I do now. I do have one stationary camera that stays stationary camera the whole ceremony, just in case.
Just in case. I've said that. And see, normally what happens when I come home and everything looks good on the primary, I automatically go ahead and delete the just because I don't need it. I mean, and that's just my habit is having it back, because I did mess up one time a long time ago when I was in the military and I was supposed to be recording this ceremony, and I was doing too many different things, and so I went up, hit the button, thought I record, man. But see, I was military, so I was like, oh well, it's like different. And
man, my finger can't stay off the record button.
Say what now?
I said my finger can't stay off the record button.
But that's the thing. And then the last thing, I just thought about this when we were talking about it. Have y'all ever had a client type up a contract of what you're going to do for them?
No.
I want you to sign it.
Never. I've done all the contracts, but I've never had a client tell me draw one up as to what they wanted.
Have you ever had a client ask you, if something happens to you, what is your backup plan?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
I have, and that was during COVID. That was during COVID.
Right.
I had
right.
Mm-hmm. That's when that happened. They was like, so we're gonna have this wedding this day. What if we're gonna hire your company? What if you happen to get COVID? They was like, do you have a team that can, still be there for our wedding, because we don't want to go with anybody else? And I was like, yeah, you definitely will. I definitely have a team. Like, and I know. Yeah. Shouts out to Mark. He part of the team. Shouts out to Mark.
Right, and I think that's one of the things that
Mark has came clutch. Mark
but let me tell you, if me and Brad tackle your wedding, we gonna have that thing covered. Hey, I'm his other tripod. I'm the other tripod. So he be like, Mark, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm his other tripod. Yes, sir. But yeah, Brad put me on a lot of weddings, man, and we work really well together. I love working with him.
Yes, and I said that I want to stress that, because I want people to know that we do have a lot of us here in the Fayetteville area. We have a strong network of vendors, to where we have vendors that are going to back us up or something. I know, like with my network, I know we had a DJ in our network that caught COVID, and we covered down for each other. I've heard stories where we cover down for each other. So it's the same scenario where, like, if I can't, for some reason, I know I've double booked throughout my 10 years military. I've double booked myself.
Yeah,
and it was not on purpose, by mistake. And the first thing I do is I do the right thing. Is I call it the customer, know what's going on, and I've already done the research to get another DJ to step in to cover their event, and it worked out perfect. And I think that's one of those things that I can go back to what we said before. Communication is a big piece. And it should go both ways, because on the same side of the client, if something happens, you should communicate with your vendors and let them know, hey, we canceled because old boy got caught doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. Old girl got caught doing something he was doing, so it was canceled for whatever reasons. Mm-hmm. But communication is a strong piece across the board.
Yeah.
I will say this, that's how I me and Mark actually started. I met Mark years ago. Matter of fact, at a church event.
Yeah, he jumped in front of my film, man.
Yo,
I said, ain't you a videographer, man? Why you jumping in front of my camera? You should know better. That's the cardinal rule.
That is so funny. That is so funny that you brought that up, man. the first time that me and Mark ever shared the room, it wasn't on like it was two different things. He was filming his church, but I was filming a group that I'm with.
Yeah.
And that is so funny, man. We was there, and we spoke, but it was like, I was like, man, who this dude with his camera all up in everybody's face, and but I remember the experience that I had at his church. I remember, Mark, you just said about you double booked. I remember I double booked, and then I remember whenever I do weddings too, my main photographer, he had double booked, and I was like, yo, who can I get? Yeah. And I wholeheartedly felt like it was God. It was like the guy from the church. That's exactly what he said. So I had to ask. I was like, "Yo, who is that guy from the church?"
Don't worry, Mario. He gonna move in a minute.
Man. He was like, "Man, that's smart. That's smart."
Yep, and it's been on in Papa since, man.
Yeah, that one month, man, we did a wedding. We did a wedding Saturday. Turn around, did a wedding Saturday and Sunday the following week, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, they're gonna come this summer and spring too.
Yes, sir.
In abundance.
And I think that's the biggest piece is that the network, and I think that's one of the biggest things I want to do for years is build a strong network where we all support each other. I remember one time, I told his one videographer, they messed up, the wedding planner kind of messed up him being able to capture it because she went forward doing something and he wasn't even notified that they had started back up. Mm-hmm. But because of one of my cameras I had captured that moment, I said, look, I'll just send you this to help you if you want to use it. And it kind of helped him out. But that's what it's all about is all of us working together as a team. And I think that's one of the biggest things I'm starting to see Fayetteville do is all of us are coming together as a team, as vendors, regardless of what we do, we're all coming together to back each other up. It's a lot better now than when I first started.
It was. Yeah, it's getting better.
It's getting better. It's getting better. And so that's a good thing. I mean, to hear how y'all work together as a team first, based off the first time y'all had an experience with each other, and then now y'all like the best partners when it comes.
Yeah, man, absolutely, yo. Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, I really wasn't bugging that he walked in front of the camera in front of our 40th anniversary. We were going live.
All the details.
It was only our 40th anniversary at the church. You know what I'm saying? I said.
I mean, I was young and inexperienced, man. I was trying to make a name for myself and
I had attacked him. I said, "Hey, bro, can you on the camera?" He was like, "Oh, my bad." I went to Twitter. I said, "Can you believe he walked in front of the camera with his camera?"
Hey, please don't hold that to my heart, man. Please don't hold it to my heart.
I love you, bro. That was funny.
But that's why I say it's good. That's why I say that people they understand, they see it. And I mean, I'm thankful that y'all both were able to give this because I asked these questions, and the reason why I asked these, even though majority of these questions I already know the answers to, I already know the solution to them, but I'm asking them because I want people to understand and see how y'all problem solve situations. So because that talks a lot about your experience, like it talks a lot about what y'all done and been exposed to in the past to let y'all know, hey, you hired these two individuals. They have done it all. They've been exposed to different things. They know how to problem solve. You don't have to micromanage them. They know what they're doing.
Yes. And that's one thing that I love the clients. I love all my clients that they don't ever question the production that I'm going to produce for them. Whether, like Brad said, they've seen it for themselves or word of mouth. I'm just so thankful because it's already stressful enough having to download footage, watch footage again, transfer, make sure that all the footage is into the hard drive, and then a backup for that hard. Make sure your footage is safe first before it go into the editor. Then get it into the editor. Then gotta watch it again. It's just so many other things that go on. And like you said, I could be sitting here working And Matt, prime example, just yesterday, I'm sitting here editing on one of my clients' videos, and my son's school called not once, but twice. So I had to stop, get a headache from the school because my son giving them a headache. And I got to try to get back to this project again. So I'm just thankful for my clients for the clients that work with me, and they don't, like you said, micromanage or, hey, how's this going? What's going on with that? Well, how's this doing? You know, they let you do what you do because they believe in you, and they wholeheartedly trust your work.
And I think that's where it goes back to where the way you relate with your customers, that communication piece, that first impression, all that's important.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's why, I mean, for me, I will say this is that I give a briefing not only to give information to the customer, but to get information that I want to see. Is this going to be the right customer for me? They're evaluating me for the services to see if I'm the right DJ, but I'm evaluating them to see if they're the right customer.
They're the right cut. Yeah, absolutely.
So, but it's always good to have that communication piece up front, because the first thing I always ask when something goes sideways at a wedding because of something happened because a vendor didn't do something, is I always go back and ask what was the process of the initial confrontation, or I should say initial, not confrontation, but the conference that y'all had. Did y'all sit down? Did y'all talk about it? What one of the biggest problems is now is technology is making it too easy for people to take shortcuts.
Yeah.
To get stuff done, and we still need to keep that, maintain that. We need to have that conversation up front.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And like you said, just getting it established from the beginning.
Right.
You know, and that's one thing. Like when we go, once again, when I go to anything I do, I'll be like, what specifically are you looking to do here? What specifically do you want me to capture? What's most important to you at this event that you don't want me to miss?
And that's why I tell my clients, I said, like, I have this full planning form where it breaks down for each and every vendor what these are what they're expecting to hear from you. Mm-hmm. They're expecting photographer. They want to know all, like I said, all the key things you want them to capture pictures of. Same thing, videographer, all the moments that you want to record. And that plan, normal time when I have a customer that doesn't have a planner, I give them that because I'm trying to make it easy for the rest of the team. If we don't, as a team, don't understand the vision, one of us is going to slip up and fail.
Yeah.
And that's going to cause a whole team to fail.
Yeah.
So we all come together, we work together, we make things happen. Everybody walks away happy, and then they go get paid off the reel and, hey, become millionaires.
Yeah, that part.
But again,
just want to touch 1 mil. That's all.
Just 1 mil.
You touch 1 mil.
But gentlemen, I want to say thank y'all for joining me tonight.
Yes, sir.
I think, like I say, I mean, this is something I know DJs. I know as we get more into March, we're going to become extremely busy. So it might not be every week. It might not be every other week. It might be once a month. But I want to get together with all vendors and have a platform to where we explain what goes on behind the scenes. We break down terminology. We break down the equipment, because the more that customers are educated what we do, the more they'll understand and respect. Right.
Yeah.
Then they'll respect that, not only what we do, but they respect that dollar sign that comes with what we do.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. It's just what it is. I mean, if it was a high tech video company that you needed to get it done with, and it costs this much, and you got that budget for it, that's what the price is. That's what you're going to get. If you want to spend $100 on a video, then you want to get $100 on a video.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how else to break it down. Am I wrong? I mean, because you get some customers that they want to pay $100 or $150 and want a big old production, like they, paid top dollar for what they requesting or wanting to get, and it just doesn't equal up. You know, it doesn't equal up to the work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or they want a discount.
Can I get that discount? Can I get that military discount? Can I get
that discount, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people don't understand though. In some circumstances, we're already giving them discounts, and they just understand until they understand what we do. And I think that's the part that I let people know up front. Trust me, if you go look out there and see how much it costs for a DJ to do what I do,
yeah, absolutely,
and then you come back and let me know what the price is.
Yeah, I told him, yeah, research it, research it.
But gentlemen, I think look, we're an hour and 30 minutes.
That was pretty good.
Brad keeps cutting in and out. I guess the raindrops over there causing problems.
It is, man.
Raindrops on my window.
I hate it, man. That's why I'm trying not to interject in because I feel like I'm gonna be all choppy up, man. But it's
so you coming in clear. I guess look, you must have something they must have heard us that we're about to
he under his umbrella. He under his umbrella now.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Under his umbrella now.
Now all of a sudden you coming in clear like before.
Wow. They just wanted to hear that story about me cutting in front of Mark Cameron earlier.
All of a sudden you hear the but I got bad connection over here.
Okay.
But look, gentlemen, again, thank y'all for doing this with me. My biggest thing is to continue to keep doing this to educate people on the process, and then also at the same time we're educating them. They're respecting that dollar sign that we put forth on our work.
Yes, sir.
All right, so look, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, we'll see y'all later. Y'all have a great night. Y'all two stay on real quick. I'm gonna end the broadcast, but we're gonna go behind stage here and talk for a quick second. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna end this broadcast and we'll talk later.